So I'm an attorney broker. We're going through the short sale listing addendum from 625 by the California Association of Realtors, paragraph by paragraph. We're going to read their definition. I'm going to amplify it, correct it, make it better, or say, hey, this is great. I'm going to say it's great a lot. What is a short sale? A short sale is a name used to describe a real estate transaction where the seller's lender agrees to allow the property owner to sell the property for less than the amount of the loan secured by the property. Just in other words, you have a property that you owe $1 million on, and after you pay your realtors, you only have $900,000. You've got to get permission from the lender or lenders to sell the property so that you can short them $100,000. So you could give them $900,000 and they'll release the liens. Why do you want them to release the liens? It's so a buyer could buy the property free and clear of all these encumbrances. So the bank would get full value of the property, because a full value buyer is going to be a buyer who's getting the property free and clear. Now, I really want to distinguish this right now, because later here, they're going to talk about potential improprieties and scammers. And I know some of your option videos on YouTube right now that are trending the strongest are the ones coming from the trainers of realtors teaching them how to buy subject to. And these people, many of them are just ignorant, because I read their comments. They don't understand what's happening, and they think they're protecting the sellers, but they're trying to buy the property from you, and they're saying, don't worry, we'll pay your loans. Here's a little bit of cash. They're going to put a group home in there. I've gotten 3 calls in the last 2 weeks. They're going to put group people in my home and generate income that way, and they're going to keep paying my cash. I got nothing to worry about. And then, just like in Florida, that was the story. One guy did this 180 times. He was using other students of these trainers' money to give those little down payments to the sellers to get them to leave. And then some point in the future, not actually very long in the future, when he didn't have enough people in there renting or their rental numbers fell, he stopped paying, and all these people were getting their problems. Like in Florida, it's a real problem. The banks were coming after them for the money. They were damaging their credit. And so my point is, the reason why you need to do a short sale or find someone who's going to pay off your loans, or you come to the table with the money, because anybody buying that property from you who is not getting that free and clear, they're very likely going to give you a very risky proposition. You do not want to sell to those subject to or creative finance pros, because most of them don't know what the heck they're doing. They get so uppity when people make challenges to them. And I'm sitting there in California, I'm like, you don't even realize what you just said could be illegal in California. So watch out for those people. And this is why it's important to know what is a short sale. So very good for the car realtors for doing it. And as a result, the lender's lien would remain on title, right? And a seller would be unable to transfer title to the buyer free of monetary liens. That means free and clear, free of the liens against the property. Now, technically, that's a perfect way to say it, because there could be like utilities saying we have a right of way under your property, and that's acceptable to most buyers. But that's why you have a title report and you review those things, and the buyer understands what they're buying, and then title insures it. So and then here's a little note: properties that are worth less than the amount owed to the secured lenders are often referred to as being underwater or distressed properties. Now, I believe underwater is the right word, and I own underwaterrealestate.com, and I'm going to train realtors on how to do this properly and certify them. Distressed properties are a subset of underwater properties. Distressed properties, I know people confused it, and they're distressed property experts, and you do see the word unfortunately used inartfully. But a distressed property is a property that is in such a state of disrepair that most lenders would not lend on it. It's a state it needs work. And a distressed property, oddly, frequently, are owned free and clear because someone on with steady income has lived in it for a long time, paid off the loan, they're still living there, and eventually the estates and lawyers sell it because it was in disrepair, but there's no loans against it. They were paid off years ago. So distressed property is a subset of underwater properties. But the Association of Realtors is right. There are realtors going around calling them distressed properties, even though your property might be 5 years old. In fact, a substantial number of the underwater properties in California right now are in areas where people either took out a lot of second loans to finance a lifestyle, or the builders built a lot of properties and now they're undercutting their buyers. Like first the builders are offering incentives to buy down rates so the buyers can still pay too much money but have a payment they can arrange or handle it with the new higher rates, so they were buying it down. But now many lenders are just undercutting, and even though they might have changed the name of the model, I mean, people realize that 3,000 square foot home is now selling at 20% less than 3,000 square feet were before, and it's driving prices down. Those properties are certainly not distressed. They're beautiful. I'd like to live in some of them. I live in a home in Poway that's built in the 60s, and we've updated, but my wife's always talking about as soon as our daughter's out of high school, we're going to go buy a newer property. So those properties not distressed. They're just underwater. So in the next video, we're going to talk about alternatives to a short sale. And we're going to go through this line by line, and it's available. We're going to have it at upsidedownrealestate.com. And, if you go to short sale guide, upsidedownrealestate.com, short sale guide, upsidedownrealestate.com, you'll see the whole series. You'll see this addendum. You'll see other things, but you can also just watch it on YouTube. I'm putting them all up at upsidedownrealestate.com on YouTube. Thanks. Bye. John McConnin, broker attorney. California Association of Realtors had me train realtors on how to negotiate short sales. Thank you.